later it came up. He got an interview with the not with Cielo. I can't remember the post. It's like, here's the Cielo, and one post behind below it.
Okay.
So that guy, he was asking him questions like, well, what kind of relationship do you have with Vivien? You know, and he broke the sword, and he told him everything. He went to ethics, and he did the EPF again. And me, I went to ethics. I got asked again. I was shut in a room for about 3 days to write OWs, to write everything down about it. And there was another situation come up with another guy. With me.
Yeah.
With another guy, and you know, if you do liability, you know liability, right? Okay, that's one of the conditions you do. So I wrote down a knowledge report about somebody else who was doing, who went out to eat with me, who was married, and who slept with me, and who was pushing me to do that, which I didn't want to do. And this report went to the COCMO, and I had to speak with her about it. I spoke with her about it. I swore her, this is the truth. I wrote down. She didn't believe me. She was asking him about it. He was saying, this is not true. We never slept with each other. I never told her to do that, etc. So then I got on the call tag from the CMO, right? She's like, I don't really know what she actually does. The only thing I know is that I went on the e-meter, and she was asking me questions like, is that the truth? And, you know, I had to tell her the whole situation again. And the needle was floating. So if the needle is floating, I was telling the truth. So he left the post. He went to ethics, and I was still in ethics. And the RTC office was there, and I was still writing OWs. And I had to go to the e-meter so they can check if I was finished with the OWs. I did this about 5 times, and they told me, you're not finished with the OWs, you can go back to write your OWs. I wrote about 4 weeks, I wrote OWs. And then I started writing OWs, which I've never done, you know, to write another OW, so that I wrote this OW, which is not true, I never did this OW, you know, because I didn't know any OWs anymore. So then I went on the e-meter, and the needle was still not floating, you know. And then I said, okay, well listen guys, fuck off. I'm not going to continue my OW writing. I wrote my OWs, and if you not believe that I'm finished, I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to sit somewhere and I'm going to wait till I can go. So then they told me, you know, there's an FO. The FO is called out 2D. No, 2D rules. And in this FO is stated what happens to somebody who goes out 2D. And usually, if you would have been on a ship and you went out 2D, you know, they're gonna take you and throw you overboard. So they wanted me to go on the RPF, and I knew that I had somebody's friend of my parents was on the RPF for 6 years. So I said, I am not going to go on the RPF, because if I go on the RPF, I'm going to take maybe 8 years. So then I said, well, I'm going to leave the Sea Org. So then they were trying to tell me, well, if you leave the Sea Org, you still have OWs and blah, blah, blah. And you know, out-int? You know that, out-int? No? Out-int is like, you know, the Scientologists, they say you have a Thetan, you are a Thetan, and you have a body. And if you have problems that your Thetan comes into your body and leaves the body, if you have problems with it, you get like, you get headache pain, your whole body is painful, you're feeling sick, and like things like that. And the CS was saying, you are out. You're out, out-int. So usually what happens if somebody is out-int is the person gets a rundown, an out-in rundown. And until this rundown is not finished, the person is not allowed to study, is not allowed to get any kind of work clearing, the person is not allowed to get anything else on the bridge or sec checks or things like that. What happens? I got a sec check, and I was still out-in. So I got the sec check, and in the sec check came up that my needle was floating all the time when I wrote my Ws, and I went there and, you know, I took the cans. And although it came out like, you know, in this 4 months I was 20, you know, I was like, for 4 months I got 24 hours watched.
For 4 months?
4 months, yeah.
Somebody was watching you 24 hours a day?
Yeah, security.
How do they do that?
Well, wherever I wanted to go, somebody has to come with me. If I wanted to go to the toilet, somebody has to come with me and stand in front of the toilet and check if I was still in the toilet. So, if I wanted to go eat, I was eating with the RPF people. If I wanted to talk to my parents, somebody who speaks German has to listen to the phone call. So then it came up that I was telling my parents that I'm getting a fitness board and I'm going to root out of the Sea Org. So I was told, well, there's a policy called leaving a lease. And in this policy, you're not allowed to tell anybody when you're leaving somewhere. So, and in the sec check, it came up. And they were trying to tell me that this is my penalty, that I should get penalty for it. That I'm a suppressive person. Because in this policy says, if somebody tells that the person's going to go, the person gets a suppressive. It's like the person gets to a suppressive person. So, well, this came up and this came up. And when I came out of this session and I had to go to the examiner, you know, you have to take the cans again and it's going to check if the session is okay. I was red tagged. And red tag means that the session was not successful. There's something happened in session which was not right. And the person has like, the reactive mind is going completely crazy, or it could be like that the person, like after a few hours, the person gets sick, or the person, whatever happens to the person. This happened. So I went in session again within 24 hours, because if you don't get in session within 24 hours, all stats of the HEC is 0. So I went back in session, and they were asking me, they gave me some list, whatever it was, I can't remember. And they were asking me some questions if there is something happened in session which I was not agreed with. I said yes. The point of that, I was violating the policy leaving a lease. I said, listen, I'm not violating this policy. I just told my parents that I'm going to come back to Germany. And this is not violating this policy. Because I didn't tell anybody of St. Hill Manor that I'm leaving the Sea Org. I didn't tell it.
Why would that be such a big crime if you had told somebody?
Well, this would mean that I have OWs, and this would mean that I would have criminal acts, and this would mean that I would maybe black PR the Sea Org and black PR Scientology.
So would it...
They get in danger.
In essence, would your telling somebody in the Sea Org that you were leaving, would that maybe make them doubt?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the reason why I was not allowed to tell.